and welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura Penrose, and I am a knitwear designer, knitting content creator kind of thing, and I'm here today with a video, clearly, but it's a video that I've never done before. I've got a little WIP parade for you, a little bit of a froggle finish. Why are we here? I recently cleared quite a lot of my knitting supplies and yarn and stuff out. My yarn used to be in what was our office, and I actually had quite a lot of yarn storage, but we have now changed that room to my daughter's bedroom, and I've moved all my yarn and stuff down to my spare room and effectively halved my storage space. So I had to make some quite big decisions. I got rid of a lot of yarn, I destashed, I donated, and I also ripped out a lot of languishing projects and was left with this pile of WIPs, and I'm not sure what I want to do with them. I couldn't make a decision at the time, so I thought I'll just leave them, I'll let them sit, I'll see if I come to them. And it's been a couple of weeks, and I think it's time for me to really make some decisions on these, because in maybe 2 or 3 weeks I'm going to be at a point where my current WIPs, active WIPs and projects, are done, and it's either going to be cast on something new or finish something old. And I would really like to clear some of my WIPs, whether that be actually finishing them or potentially frogging them. So we should probably get straight into it, shouldn't we? I think it's going to be quite a long video. I mean, it is me. So I'm going to just start at the top and work my way down. We've obviously got the smaller projects at the top and the bigger projects at the bottom, though some of my bigger crates do have more than one project in. There's stuff in here that you will not have seen. There's stuff in here that I cast on and didn't share. There are designs, there are other people's designs, there's a little bit of everything. So, gonna start right at the top with what we have in here. I can't remember if I've shared this or not, but we have quite a lot of yarn in here, but only one small project. So this little box is all of my Advent yarn from last year. I did the Woolly Mammoth Fibres 12 tied Advent calendar, which was 12 mini skeins of her sock yarn, either the either the Hearth sock or the natural sock, and it was all based on the 12 days of Christmas, and it was so wonderful. And my plan was to make Scrappy socks, and I did make a Scrappy sock, but so far it is only one Scrappy sock. I just picked out the ones that I liked the most, and then I split them into 10 gram balls, and was just just decided to go for it. I did these toe up with a shadow wrap heel, and I made this one sock in one sitting over 24 hours when I had COVID in January. It's all I had in me to do, and I don't know why, but I just didn't feel the need to go back to it since. I have since refound my sock mojo, but I think the thing that is stopping me doing the second one of these socks is there's quite a lot of yarn management involved, because I decided to do the 3 different coloured stripes. Two of the colours are quite close. I think it's better if you see it further back. There's a pink and a peach. But I didn't want to do all that end weaving in, so I carried the yarns as I went, and carrying 3 different yarns at once basically is just a fair amount of yarn management, so they didn't have that kind of chilled, mindless vibe that I normally get from socks. I also did a really bad job of carrying my yarns. I basically twisted in the wrong direction, and it's just messy and obvious, and that it annoys me, but equally I'm not going to rip them out. I haven't washed or blocked these yet, to be fair, so that might even out a little bit when I do block them, but I don't think, oh my gosh, I don't know, I really like them. I want to wear them. I really like the very top of the cuff, where I used the very last little scrap of all 3 colours right in that cuff, and I love that. But yeah, something's just holding me back doing the second sock. I don't really know what that is. So based on that, I'm not gonna rip this out. Mainly because there's nothing else I'll be able to make with this yarn anyway. It's not like I could repurpose the yarn. I'd still have to make a similar type of sock. And I don't think I'm going to re-knit the sock just because of this dodgy line. I think it's safe to say that this is going to be a finish it project. I think I've just got to wait for the sock mojo to come. With the rest of the yarn in here, I now don't know if I'm going to use it all for making socks like that, but if I do make socks with it, I definitely won't be doing the smaller stripes. I'll probably do like bigger sections of colour and then just break the yarn and just suck it up and weave the ends in. But if you have any ideas what I could use this amount of, this is an extra little mini skein Emma sent me with another order. But if you know what I could use these yarns for, like in one project that isn't socks, do let me know. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, so 180 grams of yarn here, fingering weight. So if you know of a project that I could use these for in one project, then yeah, let me know. I'm thinking maybe I could do like a festival sweater for Penny and use these as the stripes. That would be fun. I'd hold them double. Something like that. Or maybe even just like a stripy cardigan for Penny. I don't know, that girl's got so many cardigans and more to come. So that's my first one. I'm going to keep that one going. The next little one in this little box here is quite a special project, and I definitely know what I'm going to be doing with this one. This is most definitely a finish project. I just kind of it's just the wrong season at the moment. So if you are aware of my work, you may know that this year I released a sweater design called the Eclair sweater. Ding! Oh, speaking of which, by the way, I'm wearing my summer souffle, which is another one of my designs. This is made with the Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino held double, and the pattern is available on Ravelry and on my website, and it's on sale at the moment at 22% off, as well as all of my other designs. So yeah, feel free to go and use that. On Ravelry, you need the code PICKLE. On my website, penroseknits.com, it's all automatically applied. So this is my summer souffle. It's DK weight. No, there are 2 different gauges within the pattern. Blah, 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 blah. That's what I'm wearing. So yeah, I released the Eclair this year, and originally the Eclair was meant to be a shawl, but at the time I didn't really know how to construct a shawl, and I just couldn't make it work. So in the end I turned it into a sweater. But since then I have learned a lot more about shawl shaping and shawl maths and all that kind of thing, and I decided to revisit it, and here's what we've got so far. So the Eclair pattern is basically this really simple cable with alternating almost like polka dot bobbles, though there are versions where the bobbles are emitted. It's difficult to kind of see in this yarn, isn't it? Those bobbles aren't quite so pronounced. This is a very, very special yarn. This is of course Nutiden, and this is a birthday present from my friend, so it's extra special. And the moment I saw it, the moment I opened it, I just knew it had to be the Eclair shawl. And I think I made a really good choice because it's so soft and squishy and light. I feel like I could make a really massive shawl with this, but without it being too heavy, and it will still be so warm and I'll be able to wrap myself up in it. I can't remember what the name of the colour is, but it doesn't really matter because you can't buy Nutiden more than once. You have to be you don't have to be part of the Nutiden Patreon. I think they do sell it to the public, but you've got to be quick. And it's basically an unspun Swedish, is it from Sweden or is it from Norway? I think it's Sweden. It's an unspun roving yarn. I'm sure you know about it. And it's just a beautiful product to work with because it gives you such a light, floaty, airy fabric. I do have a sweater made out of Nutiden and I absolutely love wearing it. So this is the Eclair shawl. I'm really looking forward to getting back to this actually. I think once I've finished my current blanket project and I need that kind of big, repetitive, simple, enjoyable type project, I'll come back to this. And I would really like to have this finished and released this year in the winter. I'm hoping to kind of get back into my accessory groove this year. I didn't do any accessory designs last year and I've got quite a few go around in my head, so you can expect that from me this year. So that's my next languishing WIP that's definitely going to get finished. Oh my gosh, I think this might even be at the top of my to finish list. I'm not sure. Okay, so next up we have another one of my designs, and this is something I have not shared at all on Instagram or on this channel. I didn't share it because at the time I was struggling with feeling pressure and duty when it came to my designs, and I just wanted to work on something and not feel like I had to then write a pattern and release it and stuff. And I'm glad, because I've kind of, I don't think it's something that I'm going to release as it is, but I had an idea about it the other day. So basically I started a summer design. This is my only summer design and it released last year, and I'm not doing any summer designs this year because I just struggle with summer designs. And even this I tend to wear more on cooler days. I still wouldn't wear this on a really hot day. I love it in spring and autumn on cooler, windier, summery days, but overall I'm not really much of a summer knits person. However, I got struck with this idea and I got quite far with it and I quite like the results. So here we go. The idea was a tank top. It currently has two different sleeves. We've got this sleeve here, which is just all the way around, and this sleeve here, which has shaping underneath because this one was too bulky. And I'd stopped here because I couldn't decide how I wanted to finish it. If I wanted it to be split, if I wanted it to be long or cropped or just straight. And it really kind of, I just really stalled on it and haven't felt the urge to go back to it. And I think that says a lot, especially with my designs. If I stop halfway through a design and don't want to go back to it, then I think it's a clear sign that it's just not really a goer. I love this texture, this stitch pattern. This is like, it's done with eyelets and increases and stuff. And the idea was that it was supposed to look like rattan. Don't know if you can just see the top of my, I've got a rattan headboard. And I basically was looking at the headboard one day and was like, can I recreate that with knitting? And I really think I have. Should I put this on? Are we on, what are we on hold? Yes, we're on a proper hold, so I'm just going to pop it on. Bear with. I've got like a black vest on underneath, so it might not be the best. But here you go. Like, it's fine. It's nice. It's light, breezy, summery, but it's just, I don't know, not feeling it. The yarn is Filcolana Merci, which is 50% merino, 50% Pima cotton, and is one of my absolute favourite summer yarns. I like this more than the Filcolana cotton, the Knitting for Olive cotton merino. I think this is nicer. I think it's a little bit softer and smoother. Rude. But I love the way it feels. I love the weight of it. Even though it's held double and it's technically DK weight, it doesn't feel too big and heavy. But it's just not something I think I want to continue with. I did, however, think about it the other day in the context of a sweater. And I was like, oh, maybe that would be more my kind of vibe, and I could actually see myself wearing it more. Like, take the little rib off and just do a nice, big, long, wide, relaxed sleeve, and like a maybe semi-cropped body. It's tricky because if I was going to make this into a sweater, I'd probably want a little bit more ease. I don't know. This is the thing. And honestly, I don't think I can tell you if this is going to be a frog it or finish it or not. It's got short row shaping in the back. Oh, it's good. This is why I need your help, because I can't make this decision. when I think about actually working on it, I'm like, no. But then when I look at it and try it on, I'm like, yes. I just can't decide. You can see like the difference in the arm shaping, can't you? This is like quite bulky under the arm and uncomfortable, and this is like, obviously a lot of the fabric is taken away, so it's a lot more comfortable, but they kind of look the same. It's just the fit of this one is nicer. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with this design, whether it's going to go forward or not. Maybe I'll just leave it as it is and come back to it next summer or spring. Maybe that's what needs to happen. Back in my souffle. So yeah, let me know what you think about this. Like, is it a goer? I don't know. Who knows? Next up, we have a very, very long standing WIP. Not my longest standing WIP. This is coming up for nearly a year now, and you might be able to see what it is. Last year, I made my sister an Ingrid sweater by PetiteKnit for her birthday, and I absolutely loved working on it. I wasn't the keenest on the crisscross section, but overall, I really, really enjoyed it, and I really wanted to make one for Penny as well. Penny is my daughter. And I pretty much almost immediately cast hers on, and I did the body and I did a little bit of a sleeve, but it has been stalled at this point for months now. And I just don't know, one, if I want to finish it, and two, if there would be any point in finishing it, because I'm pretty sure it would be too small for her now. I have steam blocked this, and this pattern itself, it's deceptive because before you block it, it looks so small. It looks really short, but it grows a lot in length. So I did steam block it just to make sure, and I should probably hold it up against her, but I just feel like it's probably not even going to fit her for that long. So my options would be to either just rip it out and use this yarn again for something that will fit her, or to finish it and gift it to someone little, or maybe even, you know, let her wear it for as long as it fits her and then gift it. I'm not too sure. I'm adverse to ripping it out because a lot of work went into it, but also working the sleeves doesn't exactly fill me with joy because they are like fiddly. If you have worked the Ingrid pattern, you'll know that the sleeve decreases and this section is not very well written. You're basically kind of like left to figure it out yourself, and it's a bit frustrating because it doesn't look great at the decreases, but equally there is no way to like make this continue all the way around the sleeve whilst having decreases as well. I'd probably in hindsight say just don't decrease in this section, because especially in the kid size, it's really not going to make that much of a difference. But overall, it's just, yeah, the sleeves I wouldn't say are the most enjoyable to knit. The yarn is the King Cole Merino Blend DK Superwash Anti-Tickle, which I picked up in a random haberdashery in the town that I lived in. I just really love the pistachio green colour. My daughter's always suited this colour, especially when she was a little baby, because she had a very rosy pink complexion, so anything green just like looked really nice on her. And it is so beautiful. So I think I'll probably leave this until the end of the summer and then try it on her, and if it looks like it's going to fit her for this year, maybe I'll finish it. If it doesn't look like it's going to fit her for this year, maybe I will just repurpose the yarn. It would be very good to kind of like have a kids knit gift like just ready to go, wouldn't it? It would be so nice to be that person who just has like a little box of knitted gifts ready to go when an occasion pops up. I'd love to be that person, but I'm not. So next up, oh, we've got quite a big basket here, but it's got a few smaller projects in it. I have another sock. Yay! And this is a super fun and special sock, and not one that I've actually shared on YouTube yet. I shared it on my old Instagram, and I've got all the yarn there ready to go. But this is, oh my gosh, the 80s Easter sock of dreams. How fun is this bad boy? This is the, oh, I can't remember what it's called. Right, I'm gonna have to check on my phone. I apologise if the framing is different. These are the Halfsies socks by Hannah Sandler or Sandmade Knits on Instagram. And I wanted to make these for ages because they are completely different sock construction to anything I've ever seen before. They are worked flat, OMG, and it's intarsia. And this is my first and only intarsia project. And I really, really enjoyed working on these. They were such a nice palette cleanser at the time. It used a completely different technique, something I'd never done. It used up scrap yarn. These are all Filcolana Arwetta apart from this one, which is Cascade Heritage sock yarn, and they were just so fun. This is the DK weight version, though I think she is releasing a fingering weight version soon. And you like work the body of the sock, including the heel, you add the toe, and then you seam up the side and you add the cuff. And for me, like for someone actually who's quite particular about the feel of things, especially on my feet, I was a little bit concerned that that seam up the side of the sock would like kind of trigger my sensory needs, but it really doesn't, and I'm really relieved. I cast off the cuff a little bit too tightly, which is annoying because otherwise they fit really nicely. I'm just gonna yeah, it's just getting over the heel is a bit of a bugger, but they fit amazingly and they are so fun. Showing socks is so hard. So the thing that is stopping me from working the second one, because they're so quick, they're DK weight. The leg, I didn't do a leg that was overly long. Like I did it in a day. I'm pretty sure I casted it one afternoon and finished it the next morning. I'm not too sure. But the thing that's stopping me doing the second one is I can't remember what needle size I used. Like I know that like my normal fingering weight socks are almost always a 2.25 needle or a 2.5. Obviously I'm not even doubting that. But because these are DK weight, I don't have a go-to that I always use. I've got a feeling it was a 3.75 or a 3.5. This is why I can't cast the second one on, because I just can't remember, and I'll end up with two different size socks. I suppose I could just, you know, pick a needle size, cast it on and compare the two, because I have blocked this one, but I should be able to kind of get an idea. I don't know. But I really want to finish it because they're so fun and so summery. I tend not to wear my handmade socks out of the house. They're more of like an at-home thing for me. And I think these are just would be really fun for summer. And I think they would actually look really cute. Just like popping out of like fresh white trainers. I just love it. I love the vibes. There are so many really fun examples of these in the pattern. The pattern itself, by the way, is fantastic. There's a lot of information in this pattern, and quite often I find patterns with a lot of information are very overwhelming, especially when there's a lot of words. But the way she's formatted the pattern is just brilliant. It's really consumable. It's really easy to find the information you're looking for. So honestly, this pattern is just really, really fantastic and well written, which I don't feel I could actually say that often, unfortunately. But there you go. Those are the Halfsies socks, and something I would really, really like to finish. Next up we have probably my most likely to be frogged WIP. Right here we have the Cinnabar Shawl by Andrea Mowry, and it's on a thing that's too short, so let's just unknot it so that I can actually show it to you. I cast this on right at the beginning of this year in January. It was a shawl pattern that I'd been intrigued by for a long time. I really liked the combination of yarns that Andrea used in her sample, and I think she uses Spin Cycle initially, but I used the Crazy Zauberball as it's a lot more affordable and also recommended in her pattern. And I got about this far. So the Cinnabar Shawl is a brioche, well, it's half brioche, half garter stitch. You use two different colours, but there's no like colour work. You're only ever using one at a time. And it's really, really interesting. It's asymmetrical. It's kind of got a stripe. It's it's an amazing pattern, and I think the finished thing looks really good, but I think I got quite bored quite quickly. And you do kind of have to keep track of it. It's not the most like mindless project, even though it's quite repetitive. You do need to keep making sure you're on the correct row. And I think at the time I just needed something a little more mindless, and I just don't really have the urge to pick it up again. This was going to be a gift for someone, but I think I want to make that person something different now, and I don't think I want this for myself either. I'm not really a shawl wearer, though I think I would quite like the idea of a shawl, but I think I really need to be really invested in the project to finish a shawl. I have knit a few shawls, but they've all been gifts for other people, so I think this is going to be frogged. And the other reason I want to frog it is because I do really want to repurpose this grey yarn, and I have quite a lot of it. It is the Loch Lomand by BC Garn. It's 100% organic wool. I don't know what type, I don't know what breed it is, but it's very nice. It's very soft. It's ever so slightly tweedy. It's great, obviously, but it's got little hints of like a tan and white kind of tweeds to it. It's really subtle, and I really like it. And I think it would just make a really lovely garment. I think it would be really good for my Midland cardigan that's due to be released later on this year. But I just think in general, I would really like this to be a sweater. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, I've got 5 skeins of it, and it is DK weight. So is it? No, it's not. It's 4 to 5 millimeters, so it's more like worsted, almost Aran weight. So 5 skeins of it. Don't think I could make myself a sweater out of it, but also I could just buy more. But it would also be really nice to make something for my son. Now, my daughter has received a lot of hand knits from me this year, but my son has only received 1. He's in school, so he wears school uniform 5 out of 7 days a week, so he doesn't actually get to wear normal clothes that often. But he does like to wear his sibling sweater that I made for him, and he quite often chooses it. So I think I would like to make him something else. I'd quite like to make him a little cabled sweater, like a little old man cable thing. And this could be really nice. I like cables in like a dark grey yarn, because it kind of, I know you lose some of the cable texture, but I also quite like that it's subtle. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this. The Zauberballs that I'll have left, no idea what I'll do with these. Again, could be a really fun shawl, but again, these aren't really my colours. I wouldn't normally go for this kind of reddy purpley thing, so it's hard for me to imagine this in a project because it's not a colour I would gravitate towards or would choose to wear. It's likely that I'd use this to make something for somebody else. Maybe another shawl, maybe just a garter stitch shawl would be fun in this, you know, that kind of just like mindless kind of thing, and you get to really see the colour progression in it. I don't know. So yeah, I think this is going to be frogged. Official decision made. You just need to do it. And then the next WIP we have in this basket, this next one is the one that I should be finishing first. It's the project I should be dropping everything else and finishing, because it was a Christmas present for my husband last year that I didn't finish in time. If you were with me for Vlogmas 2022, you'll know what I went through with this WIP. Right here we have the Big Love Cardigan by Ankestrick, and I have maybe half the body to go. I've done both the sleeves. It has an integrated shawl collar. Again, it's on a little thing, and basically I chose the wrong I chose a smaller size because I wanted less positive ease. For my husband, I knew he wouldn't want something that was really big and oversized, but when I did that, I just didn't take into account the fact that it had been graded with all that positive ease in mind. Therefore, the yoke depths and arm widths were not because I chose a smaller size, it meant that the yoke depths and arm widths were too small. I should have chosen the smaller size for like the stitch counts, but made sure I did the length, the yoke depths and the armhole depths for the actual size recommended for my husband. So I basically got quite far with this. I basically knit almost an entire sleeve, and then I ended up having to rip it all out. Well, not all of it, I ripped out a lot and then had like 2 weeks to finish it. And even though it's Aran weight, it is an intense knit. It's an all over texture, both front and back. There are no plain knit rows, and it's beautiful. It really, really is lovely, but it's a lot of work. And because of all the drama of it, I just was not able to pick it up. I still gave it to him. I still gifted it to him. I wrapped it up. I put the spare yarn in. It was even still on the needles, and I gave it to him, and he loves it, and he tried it on and it fits him really nicely. So like, I no longer have to worry about that, but I just couldn't bring myself to sit there and work on it for another second. And it is now June. And I'm kind of like, well, you know, there's no point working on it now because it's summer and he can't wear it. But it would be nice for him to have it ready for the autumn, winter. The yarn I use is the Filcolana Peruvian Highland Wool, one of my favourite yarns. I use this for my Eclair design. It's a really lovely soft wool. Some people may feel a little bit of a tickle from it, but I don't. I know my husband likes wearing it. It's just a beautiful yarn, and this is the kind of, I think this is cinnamon melange, I think. So it has got a kind of little bit of tonality to it. I did also do one modification on this jumper that you might be on this cardigan that you might be able to see here. I added short rows to the sleeves just because I was still a little bit worried about the fit of the sleeves, and because he's quite broad in the shoulders, I wanted to make sure that there was more than enough room in the bicep area. So I just added a little bit of short rows in here just to add a little bit more fabric here. So I really need to finish this because I would also like to make my husband a jumper for our anniversary this year. It will be our 7-year wedding anniversary, and the traditional gift for 7 years is wool. So I bet you can imagine just how excited I am. I'm like, I feel like I need to say, like, here are the phone numbers of my knitting group. Organise a meeting and they will guide you in what to get me. Because he's quite clueless still when it comes to actually buying yarn and stuff. But I thought I'm going to have to make him something. I have to knit. Well, I don't have to. I would really like to knit him something for our anniversary. And what he really wants is a traditional white cabled sweater. And that is a big undertaking, and I really should get started with that. Our anniversary is in October, and after the experience with that cardigan last Christmas and how it wasn't an enjoyable experience for me, and I've decided this year I will not be gift knitting for Christmas. I might do a few small accessories if I feel like it. I did like 6 pairs of penny gloves last year and really enjoyed making them. Like, that was my kind of gift knitting. It was so fun and satisfying and I really enjoyed it, but that garment was just added quite a lot of stress to my December, and I don't want that this year. So I thought I'll make him a jumper for our anniversary, and then I'm, you know, done. No garments for Christmas gifts this year. I was going to design him a cabled sweater, and I might still, because I've yet to find a cable design that I want to make. I was thinking about doing the Moby sweater by PetiteKnit, just because I know I can trust the pattern, but it's a crisscross trellisy on the front that's like the Ingrid sweater. It is basically this bit here, but a big panel down the middle that's putting me off doing that design. But if I can't find anything else, then I'll do it. Equally, I don't want to be worrying about actually designing the garment for him. But yeah, I should probably get that cardigan finished before I do that. So I guess even though I want to work on my Eclair shawl first, I should probably finish this first. It's one of those things, it probably wouldn't even take me much longer than a week. Like, it's ridiculous. I just need to do it. I'm gonna do it. So we have one basket left, and within that basket we have four WIPs. I haven't actually counted how many we've got. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 resting WIPs. Those soon to be 10 because I'm going to rip out the Cinnabar Shawl. So what we got on the top? On the top, I mentioned earlier actually, my Midland cardigan. It is a design I worked on earlier this year, and it's just kind of waiting to go up the queue whilst I'm working on a few other things. The pattern is 90% written, that needs to be edited. But I have also, at the same time as making the adult version, I was also working on the child's version. It's so tiddy. And basically the Midland cardigan is a garter stitch cardigan worked sideways. So you cast on here and you work back and forth in that direction, and you work the back, and then you work this side, and then you do the sleeves. And yeah, I decided to do a children's version at the same time. And again, using the original, the adults pattern and the kids pattern use the same yarn, and it is the Woolly Mammoth Fibres Hearth DK, which is definitely like in my top 10. I absolutely love it. It's a beautiful, beautiful product. It's just, yeah. I go into much more detail about this yarn and the pattern in one of my previous episodes. I think it was 25 or 26. But yeah, so this is definitely not going to be frogged. It is going to be finished. And what I'm probably going to do is when it comes round to finishing off the pattern and going through the edit and stuff, that's when I'll come back to this, because this is a great way to kind of check my workings, because the pattern for the adults and the children's are exactly the same. It's just the stitch counts are different. I can like basically check my workings with this. I also think I'll use this to make a few video tutorials, just because it's such an unusual construction and there's a lot to explain. I think it's going to be much better to have a almost like an FAQ video. I might not do like separate tutorials for all the separate techniques, just make one video that comes with the pattern that just kind of clarifies anything in there that might be a little bit hard to understand. Like for example, the way you pick up the stitches for the sleeves are different on each side, so that in itself could do with a little visual cue. So I'm looking forward to finishing this. I think Penny will really enjoy wearing it. It'll be a really good one for autumn winter, and it's just so lovely. So that's my children's Midland cardigan, coming at some point later on in the year. And right, oh okay, I think I found another one that's probably going to be frogged. Right here I have not a beret, not a mushroom, I have a teddy cushion by PetiteKnit, and it's the bolster version. So it's nice, it's like its own little project bag. It's like a circle that you increase and then you make a long tube, and then you decrease down and it makes like a long bolster cushion. And the reason I cast this on was because I recently redecorated my bedroom and I wanted something like handmade to go in here. And I thought, do you know what, I've got this Rowan soft boucle yarn that I don't know what to do with, so let's just make a cushion for it. But I've just not gotten any further than this, and I think it's a few reasons. One, I don't like this colour. I like this colour, but not in the context of my bed. Like everything on my bed is quite neutral, and it just doesn't feel right in the context of my bed, or even in the bedroom. Like there's no other brown like this in here, and I find that jarring. And also it's just not the nicest to work on. Like I struggle to kind of really get into a flow with it because of the boucle. Because it's a cushion, it's quite a tight gauge. See, even there, like, oh my gosh, that stitch, what's going on there? That's just, yeah, it's quite a tight gauge because it's a cushion and you obviously don't want the filling to show. And there's just no, like, oh, you kind of almost have to like, not struggle for every stitch, but there's resistance with every stitch, and that's just not giving me the most pleasurable knitting experience. Whereas I think if I was using, what am I using? These are 4mm needles. and the yarn recommends it recommends a 6mm needle. So I think if I was using a 6mm needle or even a 5mm needle, then it would be a much more enjoyable knitting experience, but it's just not giving me any joy. It's not even giving me that kind of like nice mindless rounds and rounds and rounds of stockinette, because every stitch feels like an effort. So I am probably going to be ripping this out. It's just not my cup of tea. I love the finished project. I think the finished cushion itself is beautiful, but it's just not that fun to make for me, in my opinion. So I'm probably going to rip it out. I have got some ideas for I've got one specific idea for a boucle design, but it's quite a big project, so I don't know if it'll happen anytime soon. So I'm probably going to keep hold of the yarn. I've only got 3 skeins of it, so I would have to buy more, but yeah, we'll see. This is definitely going to be frogged. I've like had enough of this little mushroom guy. So I've got 2 left, and one of them I completely forgot existed until I did my yarn sort out. So this is a WIP, but it's also not a WIP because I have finished it, but kind of not. What am I even saying? Not last year. Was it last year I made these? No, not last year, the year before, 2021. I made Sunday socks for my mum and my sister. My sister's pair were yellow, my mum's pair was burgundy, and my mum accidentally felted one of them. It made its way into her wash. So this is the one that didn't felt, which I have. And then I bought another ball to replace the second one. And this is how much I've done. And then it got put in a project bag and got put in my yarn storage. Look, the stitches aren't even on hold. They're just like loose. And honestly, I just completely forgot about its existence. And I can make a Sunday sock in a day. It's crazy. It's not even like it's going to take a long time for me to finish. Just need to do it. The other problem is, again, I forgot what needle size I used. However, I made these during Vlogmas 2021. So all I need to do is go back and find an episode where I'm working on them, and hopefully I will mention what needle size I'm using. Really hope I am. I know that I cast on my sister's pair when I'm making cinnamon buns. So I'll start with that episode. So this is just something I just need to like finish off. I think next time I need to be in like a card journey or something. These would be really, really great. And again, it's not like there's something my mum's going to wear anytime soon because these are like quite thick socks. But yeah, that's just a WIP that needs to get done. And it's going to be one of those where I'll do it and I'll be like, why didn't I do that sooner? That was so satisfying. And I've got one less WIP in my basket. My final WIP is my longest standing WIP, I think. I cast it on January 2022, so a year and a half ago. It was originally a Christmas project from 2021. I was making the Augustine's dress. I can't remember which number it is, but it's the one that's like got big lacy sleeves and a lacy skirt, and I fell in love with it straight away, started to make it, and as I was making it realised that I didn't want to make it anymore and that I wasn't going to wear it. And I was using Sandnes Garn Cos held with a strand of mohair. So I ripped out that dress and cast on what I would probably consider one of my dream knits. And I was reminded of this project the other day when I was watching Knitting Traditions, lovely Ingrid, because she's doing a Dream Knits Cal at the moment. And I say that this is a dream knit because when I first started knitting, I saw this design and was just like, wow, I could make that. Like, I couldn't believe that it was something that a person could make. And I bought the pattern and I tried to cast it on and I was like, whoa. No chance. I am not ready for this. I do not know what any of this means. And it is the September sweater by PetiteKnit. And it's funny because it's a dream, even though now it wouldn't be something I put into a category of a dream knit now, because to me this is like easy. Like, not only can I knit this, but I could probably design this myself now quite easily. But it's a dream knit because at the time when I first saw it, it was a dream knit. And seeing Inga's Cal, I thought maybe I will finish this for the Cal. I think WIPs are okay. But basically, after I ripped out that dress, I cast this on in January 2021. I had COVID at the time. I've had COVID for the past 2 Januaries. And this was like my COVID project. And I just basically just smashed out all this brioche as I was getting better. And then I picked up and worked half of the sleeve before I realised that I'd used the wrong needle size. This is on a 5mm needle and I'd used the 5.5mm needle on the sleeve. And I think that's because I've got a feeling, or is it the other way around? I don't know. I used the wrong needle size basically. And that frustrated me and I put it down and didn't want to go back to it. And since then, like since that 1.5 years ago, I've just not felt the urge to go back to it. And I'm really not sure why, because the finished garment itself is something I would really, really like. I've done most of the work, like I've done the big bit. It's just like sleeves in the round now. I don't even think there's any decrease. No, there are decreases maybe. I don't even know. But like the bulk of it is done. So what's holding me back? I don't know if it's maybe the colour. Is it I mean, I love a neutral, I love a beige, but I don't know if this is like, this colour suits me. Maybe it's the fit. I haven't actually washed or blocked this. Let's pop it on. It's quite big, it's quite oversized, which I really wanted, though the neck is really quite small. For something so oversized, the neck is small, but again, I haven't blocked it. So hopefully the neckline will grow a little bit with blocking. Is the colour all right? Does it wash me out? I don't really know. It's more the fit on the body I'm worried about, so bear with. Yeah, okay, so I think I found what it was that was putting me off about it. I'm not really into full length long jumpers that hug the hip. I have a very, I've got a small waist and a big bum, so if I have something oversized that clings to my hips, I basically lose all my shape. If I'm going to wear something that reaches down to my hips, I like it to be loose on the hip. So my Eclair, for example, I designed that to be long, and I made sure that I made a size that was wider than my hips. It also has a split hem, so it hangs really nicely, whereas this clings to my hip. And that is not something that I like or that I'm comfortable with, because I quite like to show my shape. So I prefer something to be either cropped or long and loose. And this kind of sits in that awkward spot that I'm not comfortable with. It's just a bit sacky, isn't it? It's just a bit of a sack. I don't know if I could like... Maybe I could get away with just tucking it in, doing the French tuck. I don't know. Maybe it would be all right with leggings. But basically, I think it's the fit that's putting me off finishing it. Oh my gosh, I'm warm. Bear with. Now, I think I can hear what you're all shouting at your screens. You're shouting, Laura, block it. Because obviously brioche, have I blocked? I think I might have blocked this. I've got a feeling I have already blocked it. I can imagine it like lying out to dry, or maybe I only blocked the top. I don't know. It looks like it's blocked, like, or I've just got really nice brioche tension. I feel like it's blocked. Like, although looking at the rib, that's not what my rib looks like when it's been blocked. Right, I'm going to do that today. It's a really beautiful sunny day. I'm going to block this bad boy, maybe just a steam block to start with, and see where it is, because it might be that I get that extra width on the hip that makes me feel more comfortable wearing it. So if I know that the fit is good and I'm actually likely to wear it, then I think I'll finish the sleeves. Ripping this out would be not the most fun in the world, because it's a very sticky yarn. Cloth is like a blown yarn with alpaca and nylon. Yeah, it's 62% alpaca, 9% wool, 29% nylon, and it's sticky AF. I've also already ripped this out of a project. Well, most of it. I did have a few balls I used, but like I've got all this like caked yarn up ready to go. So, I don't know about this one. So yeah, I think the key to this is going to be to give it a block and see, which I'll probably do in a minute. So there we go. That's all my languishing WIPs. I hope you enjoyed that little talk through. I feel like I've got a little bit more clarity. I'm looking forward to doing some ripping out, and I'm looking forward to finishing some things off. Mainly that cardigan. Do let me know your opinions in the comments. Like, honestly, I could really do with some help making some of these decisions. If you have any ideas for my sock yarn, let me know. If you've got any, if you know of any nice men's cabled sweaters, traditional, let me know. That isn't the Moby sweater and that could hopefully avoid the kind of crisscross thing. I also really have a problem with the look of honeycomb cables. It gives me that thing, you know, when people feel uncomfortable seeing like holes, lots of holes or lots of circles like in nature, it makes them feel I have that. I really do. And honeycomb cables kind of give me that feeling, and a lot of men's cabled sweaters have honeycomb, and I know I could swap them out, but I really don't want to be mucking about with that because cables and gauge, it's like that. So yeah, let me know if you know of any nice men's cabled sweater patterns that don't involve like lattice, crisscross or honeycomb cables. So I'm going to wind it up there. Oh, that was a bit of a yarn pun, wasn't it? I'm going to wind it up there. I hope you enjoyed this random little video, and I will see you very soon. What can you see from me next? Next weekend, not this weekend, coming weekend after, I'm going to the John Arbon Open Mill weekend, which I will be vlogging. So that will probably be the next video you'll see from me. Don't forget to make use of my pattern sale at the moment. Use the code PICKLE for 22% off all my patterns on Ravelry, or you can go to my website where they are automatically applied. And I will see you in the next one. Have a fabulous day. Bye bye.